guys, welcome to Nyonya Cooking. I've been sharing a lot on Instagram, and one of the photos of recipes which I've shared has gained a lot of interest, and I guess it's time to show you how I create Chilli Pan Mee. Chilli Pan Mee is made out of a few components. You have the minced meat, you have the poached egg, and most importantly, the chili that comes along with the noodles. If you go to restaurants, this chili is prepared on the side and it is always left on the table. And that means customers can always add this dried chili onto the noodles as much as they want. But there is always a risk to it because it's very spicy. When I made Chilli Pan Mee in Germany, it brought me back to my memories when I first had Chilli Pan Mee in Kuala Lumpur. There is a very popular store or restaurant in Kuala Lumpur which sells Chilli Pan Mee. And when I added, I was really brave. I added a lot of chili. It was so spicy. And the chili in this recipe, I've tried to tone down the spiciness. Let's get to the ingredients. We'll first need some handmade noodles. I have the recipe in the description box, so click on the link. To prepare the minced meat, we have oyster sauce, light soy sauce, and dark soy sauce to add some color, shallots, garlic. Minced meat, you can either use chicken or pork. I've used chicken. We have some Chinese vegetables. I'm using choy sum here. Sugar, pepper, and also shallots oil, eggs. And to create the special chili, we are going to use dried chili and also fresh chili. Most importantly, dried shrimp and dried anchovies. If you want to create shallots oil, I have the link in the description box, so click on the link below. And for the full recipe, it is on nyonyacooking.com. So now let's prepare by marinating the meat. We will add light soy sauce, oyster sauce, dark soy sauce, sugar, and a bit of pepper. And all you need to do is just mix well, leave it aside while we prepare the rest of the accompanying dishes. The next step is to prepare the soup that goes along with the noodles. Now I have these dried anchovies. Take half of them and add it to a tea bag and just tie a knot. When the water is beginning to boil, we'll add our bag of dried anchovies into this pot and immediately turn the heat down. We're going to let this soup simmer for a while. You can either add a slice of ginger if you like to get rid of the fishiness smell or taste, but I like to just leave it like that, and we're just going to let it simmer for a few minutes until the dish is ready. We are now preparing this special chili that goes along with the noodles. Here I have the dried chilies and also red fresh chili. Now I am going to use the pestle and mortar this time. I've tried it using a food processor or a blender. It didn't really taste just as good as using the pestle mortar. And I believe that of course you can use a food processor or blender. You just don't need to blend it until it's really smooth but slightly rougher. I just find that the taste is much better. Maybe it's in me, maybe it's in my mind. I don't know. What do you say? Write to me in the comment section to tell me your thoughts. We'll first begin with the dried chilies. Fresh red chilies. After 10 minutes of heating, it's time to add the dried shrimps. Now the dried shrimps, I would add it right towards the end of pounding because I don't want them to be too mushy. Just pound a bit to ensure that the dried shrimps would release their aroma once it's fried. First things first, we are going to fry these dried anchovies until they are really crispy. We'll begin with the pan here and we are going to add some oil. Just hover your palm over the pan and you can feel the heat. That's when we're going to add these dried anchovies. Let me first warn you that the smell when you fry these anchovies, it's going to be quite exquisite, but it's going to be worth it. Once they are golden brown, it's time to remove the fried anchovies. We're going to leave this aside and we're going to fry the marinated minced meat. I have also made a vegetarian version. If you want more information, it's on my website. So with the excess oil that we have already fried the anchovies earlier, we're going to add garlic and shallots. Once it's almost browning, we will add the minced meat. Now, using the excess oil which we used to fry the anchovies really makes a difference, because first of all you are using shallots oil, and then you have the flavors from the fried anchovies, so it really makes this minced meat extra flavorful. In about 8 to 10 minutes, the minced meat should be cooked, so we can then dish it out. Minced meat is done. We are going to move on to preparing the chili. Rinse the pan. Once it's dry, we'll add oil. Again, you can feel the heat. So remember, we pounded some dried shrimps right in the middle. I'm just going to scoop that out. We're going to begin with the dried shrimps. It's okay if you get some chilies along the way, it doesn't really matter. Now, having dried shrimps really adds a lot of flavor to the chili. Let's give it a few quick stirs. Keep stir frying until it's really all fragrant. Then we will add the rest of the chilies that we have pounded. Now you need to cook this at very low heat. Continue stir frying until it's almost dry. You'll see that the color of the chilies has already darkened. The chili is ready. You can now set it aside. This is the second warning if you're going to prepare the chili, especially when you're abroad. You know that the smell is going to be exquisite, but again, it's going to be worth it. Now we're going to prepare poached eggs. Break it into a bowl. And then with a pot of boiling water, I'm going to take a spoon and give it a swirl. Carefully pour the egg into the swirling water. And then we're going to lift this up and scoop it into a bowl. Poached eggs are ready. Now we will prepare the noodles. So these are these handmade noodles which I prepared in the previous video. And over here I have a pot of boiling water. Very carefully, I'm going to slide it in. So with a chopstick, I'm just going to loosen the noodles. Continue cooking for about 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Once the noodles are all loosened up and you know that it's cooked, we can bring it up. The next step is really optional because I do not want the noodles to stick together. So with a bit of shallots oil, chopsticks, just gonna mix this up. So you get the smell from the shallots, and now we can assemble our pan mee. But before that, remember the soup that we have. So this has been boiling for quite some time now. I'm going to remove this bag of anchovies, increase the heat, and we're going to add some fresh vegetables in it. I'm just adding this to the soup. Lightly blanch this for about 30 seconds, then pick it up, place it in the bowl. Then we can move on to the rest of the ingredients. Now I am really excited because I'm going to assemble this. Besides the chili, we are going to then add fried anchovies right at the side, chicken, and then the chilies. Last but not least, the poached eggs. And place it right in the middle. There you go. Chilli Pan Mee, my friends. I am enjoying this in Germany, and if I have prepared it in Germany, you can prepare it in any part of the world. As for the soup, I'm just going to pour it into a little bowl here. Garnish with a bit of scallions. And also some on the noodles. I cannot wait to savor this, but before that, isn't that beautiful? You've seen the beauty of this dish. Now it's time for me to taste the beauty of this dish. When you eat chili pan mee, all you need to do is just mix this dish. Now it's time to taste it. The silkiness of the noodles, then the punch of the chili, saltiness from the chicken. Oh boy. Again and again, I amaze myself with this dish. We'll also try a little bit of the soup. It's so fresh. There's very light hint of saltiness from the soup, so it sort of washes down the saltiness and the spiciness that you get from the noodles. So good. Guys, this is the ultimate spicy noodles. If you have this, it will be so much fun that you prepare all the side dishes together and then have them with your friends during a party. I can bet with you can maybe start a challenge with this recipe. Give me a thumbs up while you're here and also subscribe to this channel if you have not. Do you know you can also inspire others to cook? It's so simple. Once you've tried any recipes on Nyonya Cooking, join the rest of the Nyonya community and upload your delicious recreations. Until then, I hope to see you more on our recipes and on our videos. I wish you happy cooking!